Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be taking a look at the second game in the West Kingdom Trilogy, and that is Paladins of the West Kingdom. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to set up, play, and score the game, particularly in using the Solo AI module. So, how to play Paladins solo. As with any Shem Phillips game, there is a lot of setting out your pieces at the beginning. So majority of your setup is going to be filling in all of your developments, your commissions, garrisons, and your absolve pots down here. All of these are identical, I guess, but the pots do matter that you place them in numerical order, and you have one of each number. You'll see that 2 and 4 and 6 are skipped, but that is on purpose. You're going to do the same thing with the Solo AI board, which just make sure you have flipped over your player board to the Solo AI side. You'll notice that there are 2 slots for cards here, and there's this track here. There's no development track. So mainly this side, the boards do look very different, but they look close enough that you want to make sure you are on the Solo AI side. But all the Solo AI sides are the same. They're all on the back of every single player board. So you're going to fill up their commissions, their garrisons, and their absolve pots in the same exact way you would yours. And then depending on the difficulty level you're going to play with, you're going to grab 3 developments plus whatever level of difficulty you're playing on. So 1 for easy, 3 for standard, and what is it? I think 6 more for difficult, something like that. Today we're just going to be playing on easy, so we just need 3 developments plus the 1 additional that he's going to get. So after we have placed everything out, you're also going to place your attribute levels on 0, and for the Solo AI, you're going to place them in this specific stacking order, and that's listed in the rulebook because whatever's on top for the Solo AI does make a difference as they are going along. All right, so you've set up your player boards at this point. You also, as a player, want to make sure you have Paladin cards. Technically, the back of the background of these cards does match this picture on your player boards. These pictures are different, but it honestly doesn't matter, especially if you're playing Solo AI. Just make sure that they're all from the same deck. All of the Paladins are exactly the same. You'll want to shuffle these up and just set them off to the side for right now. All right, so we have set up our player board. We have set up the Solo AI player board. You also want to make sure you have the resource marker here, which comes in the green meeple bag when you buy the game. So it's very difficult to overlook. Just make sure you pull that out and set it there. So then you're going to want to set up the community boards here, which normally these workers are going to be on the top of the board, but for the sake of filming this video and so you guys can see them, I have placed them down below. Normally there's nothing really happening down below. I don't know why they did that. Put them top because the outsiders are on the bottom, but anyways, I guess they had other stuff that they wanted to happen up top. So anyways, just know that those icons up here with the 3, 2, 2, and 1 coins, things like that, these guys should be sitting above those. So normally you would deal those out. You also want to make sure you shuffle up your fortify deck. Looks like the construction crane. Set it somewhere. It's got a spot up there. You also want to get out your debt deck. These are exactly the same. They don't need to be shuffled. And your suspicion deck, which should be shuffled and placed up here. Again, those are just placeholders. If you're playing Solo AI, you can put them wherever is handy for you. You also want to shuffle up your villager deck and your outsider deck. You can go ahead and deal them out. The outsiders here are in the proper places again. The villagers are below for a reason. Then you want to shuffle up your King's Favor cards and deal 5 of those out in these spots. You can see there's a green thing for you to put them in. Normally in a multiplayer game you would also shuffle up the King's Order cards and deal 3 of those out as well. All the rest can go back in the box. But if you're playing solo AI, you need to do something with these first. So this is where the difficulty comes into play. I'm going to shuffle these up, and on easy difficulty, the solo AI is going to get 1 bonus development before the game even starts. That's why you can see on standard, him getting 3 is just upping the difficulty that much more, because developing, which we'll talk about in a minute, just makes it easier to complete your actions. It takes less workers to complete certain actions. So what you do is you shuffle up the King's Order cards and you flip over a number of them equal to the difficulty level. So in this case, we're just doing 1. All right, so the garrison action is what's going to get the development. This means that the solo AI only needs 2 workers instead of 3 now to complete the garrison action. Now what you want to make sure you do is take this card, put it back into the stack, and shuffle them all back up together. And then we're going to deal 3 randomly out on to the board. This means that the garrison action could be in there, and could be a King's Order that the AI is going to be working towards, or it could not be. We don't know. We won't know until after the first 3 rounds. So what you're going to do with the rest of these additional tokens is place the 3 developments on each one of those, because when you flip over a card at the beginning of the round, you are going to take the development and put it out in whatever action that King's Order is pointing you towards, therefore making it easier for the solo AI to complete the King's Orders, essentially. I guess when testing, they figured it was too hard for the solo AI to get the King's Orders, so they had to make it easier for them. The last thing you're going to do is pull out the King's Favor scheme cards. These are all matching out of your scheme deck here, and you're just going to place 1 on top of each of these King's Favor cards. This way, when you flip over a King's Favor card, you're going to take one of these, take the one on top, and place it into the discard pile of the solo AI. That way, they are not going to have these King's Favor cards come up until King's Favors are actually available, and there'll never be more King's Favor cards in here than there are King's Favor cards to claim. So, all right, we have set up the game. You also want to make sure you, as the human player, get 3 coins and 1 supply. So you can set those off to the side. And the solo AI does not gain meeples, worker meeples, from the Paladin cards or the Tavern cards, which we'll talk about here in a minute. They are always going to get the amount of workers based on the round. So it's the first round, so there's 1 worker plus 3. So this is the solo AI's worker pool for the first game, and for them, the color doesn't matter. So I tend to use white a lot, but you may see I may be running short on whites, so I'll just grab any color. But for now, here is the solo AI's worker pool. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is in solo AI games and multiplayer games, before the game officially starts, everybody gets to claim someone from the villager pool. They get to recruit into their hand for free. Now, one important thing to note is that the instant actions, which are like right here on these 3, these are instantly gained effects when you recruit them to your village. Dismissing is up here. But you gain these recruit effects, instant recruit effects, even here now at the beginning of the game. So I'm focused on these 3. This one, however, I have no suspicion cards. The game hasn't even started yet. So taking this card would kind of be pointless. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this one because I do plan on developing. That's just kind of a standard strategy that everybody tries to use. And that's going to give me a supply, which will help me commission or garrison in the future. So, or fortify, all this stuff on top. So I think this is what we're going to claim. I could, if I knew what one of these 3 were, if one of them was convert, I would probably take the missionary, but instead we're going to go with the architect. Keep it safe. So I get to claim the architect now, and I get to claim her bonus right away. Normally in a multiplayer game, you would do this in reverse turn order. So you would determine who's the first player going to be, and then you would start with the last person, work your way backwards. Everybody would get to choose, not refilling. Now that everyone has chosen, namely just me, we will refill. Okay. All right. So again, at this point, we get to kind of begin round one. So first thing you're going to do is flip over the cards that are subject to this round. So round one, it's a King's Order card that is upside down. And round two, you'll see in round three, we actually flip over a King's Order and a King's Favor, and then it's King's Favors for the rest of the game. So what this is telling us is that if I can put out 5 garrisons, I will get 4 victory points at the end of the game. There is no middle ground. There is no putting out 3 and gain half the points. It's 5 or nothing. So that's going to be one of my focuses, hopefully for the game, is putting out garrisons, which means I'm going to be needing resources, supplies, provisions, whatever they're called. I'm also going to be needing a good strength attribute. We're going to talk about all this in a second. What this also means, though, is that right off the bat, the solo AI gets a very easy go at garrisoning. So you're going to see King's Order cards come out in their scheme deck. You're also going to see a garrison card, but the King's Order cards are going to focus on whichever King's Order card is A, worth the most points, and B, they haven't completed. So at least in this first round, if one comes up, he's definitely garrisoning. Again, that was unfortunate, but on the plus side, at least it happened for the first one, which is the least amount of victory points. So it's almost guaranteed that the solo AI will probably get to the garrisoning mark. He'll probably get out 5, but at least he didn't get the bonus on the 8. So that's beneficial to us. Ideally, it would have been spread out to something else, but c'est la vie. All right. So we've flipped over the first King's Order card, and we have claimed our first worker. So now we are ready to figure out what our worker pool is going to be. To do that, we start with the Paladin cards here. You always draw 3 from the top of your deck. And one of the mechanics of this game that I really appreciate is that you, out of these 3, you're going to choose one to be your Paladin for this round. So he's going to go right here. You're going to choose a second one that's going to go back on the top of your deck, which means he's definitely going to be drawn in the next round. And the third one's going to go to the bottom of your deck. The very early rounds, you'll probably, I think, logistically, you will see that Paladin again. He will come back up again, but later rounds, anybody you tuck on the bottom, you're pretty much guaranteed not to see again. So let's look at these Paladins a little closer here. We have Gerard. He's going to give us 2 green meeples. He gives us a temporary boost, so just for the round we're using him, of influence and faith, 2 each. And if we go hunting with him, we're going to gain 2 additional provisions. So whether we hunt with a single worker for 1, that'll give us 3 instead. If we put 2 meeples, 2 workers out here, we're going to get 3 plus 2 is 5. Not bad, early game. We also have, Engelier. He, attacking, earns us 2 silver. So normally, attacking, you're just going to gain whatever bonuses up here on the outsider cards. In this instance, any attacking that you do is going to get you 2 additional silver. And the last one we have here is converting, costs no silver. So when you convert, you fill up these spots on the bottom of your board. And you can see that the more people you convert, the more expensive it's going to be. 3 coins being these last 2 slots. These 2 could be King's Order cards that come up later on. So I actually don't want to get rid of them per se. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy. Converting costs no silver. He would be beneficial to have end game scenario where I have to pay more silver to convert. So I'm going to put him at the bottom, and then I know I'll see him again if converting comes up, and I'll get him late in the game. I'm going to put this guy on top just in case attacking ends up being one of those. It's always beneficial to get silver, so I may use him. This guy, I'm going to be my guy this turn. The only reason I may have considered using this guy is because he gives not only a red worker, but he's giving me a boost stat in my strength column. So instead of 0, I would have had 3. Garrisoning needs strength attribute to go out there, but early on in the game I should be able to sneak into these 0 spots, at least one of them, to get at least my garrisoning started. So again, we put him back. So this is giving us our starting workers to choose from. So we get 2 green meeples here. And now we go to our tavern cards, which are right here. You're always going to draw an amount of these players plus 1. So in a solo game, you're going to draw 2. And let's take a look at these. All right. So in a multiplayer game, anybody, whatever tavern card you choose, this is giving you the additional workers to add to your pool. You always have 6 workers at the start of a round to play with. The purple workers, however, represent criminals. Criminals raise suspicion. And, one thing I forgot to do during setup here is place 5 coins in the tax. Normally you put those above, but we'll just put them right there so you can keep an eye on them. Criminals, when you gain suspicion, may bring some money, may steal some money from the tax as they come over. Anytime the tax runs out, an inquisition is going to happen, and that's generally bad news. So you normally don't want to have a lot of suspicion. Some people may go for that strategy and not worry about it, but again, that's like a meta strategy. So in looking at these 2 cards, if I take this one, I'm taking 2 suspicion. It could be a decent amount of coins I gain, but I'm also in the lead for having to deal with the Inquisition. Or if I take this one, I only take 1. Whichever card in the solo game I don't choose, the AI is going to claim the other one. Now again, we already established his worker pool, but he will have to claim 2 suspicion cards if I give him this one, or 1 if I give him this one. So other than me deciding which of these 2 cards I want out of the people, the other one is important just for looking at how many criminals are listed. Now, I already established that I could really use a red worker. I could also use a blue one. The purple is a wild. That's why they come with a negative aspect to them, because there's a lot of benefit. They can be used for any color, whereas normally your white workers can only go in these kind of blank spaces. And then reds and blues and greens can only go in their particular color or a blank space. But purple can go anywhere. So I think what I'm actually going to do is take the risk now, because it's early, and I'm going to take the one with 2 criminals. Like I said, it's early. The tax is full. Technically, between 3 cards, you could wipe out the tax. But at this point, I'm going to have to take 2 suspicion cards. He's going to have to take 1. So let's count it off here. I get 2 coins. Since these have the kind of reddish hue to them, they come from the tax. So 2 more coins added. I'm going to draw another coin. Ooh, 2 more again. So this is beneficial to me, but as you can see, we have already plowed through the tax. If this is at least 1 coin, you're going to see an Inquisition right off the bat. It is not. So lucky for us, that tax stays put, but I now am in the lead. I have 2 suspicion. He has 1. Once you have claimed the coins don't matter. So it doesn't matter that I have 4 coins and he has none. It's just 2 to 1. I guess we can go ahead and cover this. Anytime this last coin is removed from the tax and Inquisition happens, whoever has the most amount of scheme gains a deck card, and then also can remove half of their scheme cards rounded down. So if you just have 1, you can't get rid of it, because half rounded down is 0. And then you refill the tax and you move on. Deck cards are -3 victory points, but can be flipped to be a +1. So they're not always horrible. but it is kind of a pain to deal with. Generally, I try not to have, or I at least want the solo AI to be taking those on and not myself. All right. So that is an Inquisition. We've covered that. Let's now talk about how to actually play the game. So once you have your pool of meeples, specifically me, these very specific colors of meeples, you're going to be in turn order taking a single action to place your workers out on the board and take whatever action that you place them at. And then you would take an action, the next person in turn order takes an action, it goes around the table until it's back to you, and everybody keeps taking actions. They go very quickly until you pass, at which point everyone else continues to take actions until everyone else passes. In the solo game, it goes you, AI, you, AI, you, AI. You can pass whenever you're ready. The solo AI plays until he is out of workers. All right, so let's talk about the actions that you can take with your workers. The first one, which we've already briefly discussed, is to develop. This one takes any two colored workers, you put them here, you pay 4 coins, and you get to put out one of your little workshops here. You can place them in any of the locations with the dotted squares, dotted line squares, which means you could place this here, and then in the next round, place one here. Actually, let's use this example. Now, all of a sudden, I am the same as the solo AI. It only costs 1 red meeple for me to garrison. Without it, it costs a blue, and any color, and a red to garrison. You can also see that as I uncover these, you actually are gaining meeples workers as a one-time bonus. So anytime you uncover this stuff, you're going to gain a bonus from underneath. Here you're going to raise your blue flag. Here you're going to raise your black flag. Here you're going to raise your black flag. Here you're going to gain a worker. That's a one-time bonus. You don't get that worker now at the beginning of every round. You just get it when you remove. All right. But for me, remember, if I develop, I also gain a supply. All right. So building workshops essentially makes taking your actions over here, which are the main engine actions, cheaper. All right. But it's pretty expensive. Over here, you can hunt. If you send just a single meeple of any color, you get 1 provision. If you send a single and a green, you get 3. 1 plus 2. Our hunter here will give us 5. Trades the same way, but with coins and a blue worker meeple. Recruiting, if you send just a single worker of any color, you can dismiss the individuals. Now, you still have to pay, depending on what row they're in. So if you want to dismiss this gatekeeper, it's going to cost you 3 coins, or you have to take a debt. But when you dismiss them, you simply gain whatever is right here underneath the X, and you discard that person. They don't get refilled until the end of the round. However, if you place a single worker and then a red meeple, you get to recruit them. Again, you can recruit this guy for free. You have to pay 3 to recruit this guy. And you gain any instant effects, which are right here above the lightning bolt. And then what's in the brown banner is an ongoing effect that you have to keep up with. If you place a single worker here first to dismiss someone, you cannot then come back later and add on a red person. Same with all the rest of these up here. You cannot place a single person to hunt and then come back and place a green person. Once you have placed 1 person here, those spots are considered full. Here you can place a black worker, pay 2 coins to pray. That's going to allow you to clear off all of your workers that you have in these spots on this side of the board. The AI is going to get that same benefit. These go back to the supply. They do not come back to your supply. They go back to the main board. But what it does is it clears up those spots so you could do these actions again. Say you wanted to garrison twice in 1 turn. You need to put out your workers, garrison action, then pray, remove them, and then fill them up again. Conspire allows you to turn any worker into a criminal, which they become wild. In doing so, though, you're going to take a suspicion card. We know how that works. All right. So this is, the left side of the board is basically just kind of gaining resources, gaining villagers, things like that. The right side of the board is where we are going to focus on completing King's Orders, and getting our engine going, raising our attribute levels, things like that. So Each one of these is linked to a action to either put one of these out, remove a pot, place a fortifying thing up here, or attacking and converting the outsiders. Each one, you will notice, has a color on the left side and the right side of its name. The color on the left side is you have to check your attribute level against the action you're taking to see if you even are eligible to take that action. So in the case of commission, you need to check your black, which for me right now is 0, but my paladin is giving me a bonus of 2. So what I can do with this then is, first I place my meeples down, which I don't have a black meeple, but I could place a purple, and it has to be a green, and then this one could be any color. All right, so I've placed my workers down. I then check to see I have a level, a black level of 2. So I can now place a commission either in this column or this column, because this is a black level of 2, and anything to the left is lower. I could not go to 4, 5, 6. I can't go anywhere higher. So I would come out here. In a 2-player game, you have to ignore these bottom spots. You can see that there's a player count underneath. These spots are only open for those player counts. Make sure you pay attention to that. But then you get to choose, and wherever you put your token, you gain the reward underneath, and then it stays out there. So essentially blocking that space for anybody else to use. In doing so, and pulling this off, you also are going to gain an increase in your blue. So you can see that every action has the color on the left that you need to check in order to do, and what's on the right is what you're guaranteed to raise at least once. So in fortifying, you have to check your blue attribute level against wherever you're putting in your wall. So the first one is 0, then you have to have at least 1, then you have to have a level of 3. So fortifying, you would put your 3 workers here. You check your blue against where your next empty slot is. If you have it, then you can pay the resources necessary to draw a fortify card and slot it in there. Fortify cards are all going to have bonuses on them, but they're all also going to guarantee to raise your attack 1. Same thing with garrisoning. You put your 3 worker meeples out. You check your strength to then look at the red banner here. So if I have a strength of 5, I could go to any one of these or lower. So you will notice that everything in this row lines up nicely. Black leads to blue, which leads to blue here, which leads to red, which leads to red here, which leads to black, which comes back around. Up and down also pair nicely. So commissioning gives you blue, absolving needs blue, and gives you black, which comes back up to commissioning. So good at comboing can happen either in the columns or the rows. These are not just randomly thrown out there. All right, so you can see that not only do you have to check your level, but you have to have the necessary resources. So commissioning and garrisoning takes supplies as well as fortifying. Absolving is going to cost you coins. Attacking actually doesn't cost you anything. You just have to have the strength to attack, but you can also pay a coin to gain 2 temporary strength to attack. And then converting is going to cost you coins based on where you're slotting them in down here. All right. These were straightforward. Attacking, when you attack someone, you gain this benefit, and then you basically just claim them. You put them face down somewhere, because you may get endgame scoring from them, but then they're done. If you convert them, you're going to gain this instant action, which on all of them is going to be raising your red. Some of them have an additional bonus, like maybe a second red banner. But you're going to claim these and slot them into your convert spots, because this gray banner at the bottom is going to give you additional endgame scoring conditions that you might be able to meet, and only you. So if you convert this mercenary here, I have to check and remind myself what these symbols mean, but say this person here, you're going to get a VP per every 2 people you have recruited villagers. So you would put this person down just to remind you, ooh, I'm getting bonus points for villagers, and at the end of the game, you count up your villagers, divide by 2. This person is going to give you additional victory points. Absolving, you're going to take this pot. The level of blue you have to meet is equal to the pot that you're getting rid of. So, like, for example, you have to have a level blue of 5 in blue to absolve this spot. You remove it. It's going to give you a black, which we talked about. But then you get to choose which spot over here you get to cover up. Similar to garrisoning and commissioning, you gain that instant benefit, but it stays there the rest of the game. You also always get to kill off a suspicion card. So essentially you could go here and get this to kill off 2. Whew. So that is all of the actions that you can take. For the solo AI, the only real difference for them is the fact that they basically have nothing but wild workers here. But you're going to flip over a scheme card and it's going to give you an action that they are attempting to take. So what you want to do beforehand is check their level. So say commissioning, you're going to check their black. Right now it's 0. They don't have any paladin bonuses, so it's always going to be wherever their marker is. You would check their level. It's 0. Okay, is there a spot they can go in the 0? Yes. All right, now let's put our 3 worker meeples out, pick this up, and we'll put it out. In deciding where, if there's multiple options to go, say example right here at the beginning of the game, there's either recruit for free or gain 2 coins, you're going to look at this row above, which is the same. But here, recruit for free would be the first choice. All the way down to coins is near the end. So recruit for free, flip a debt, pray, gain any 2 workers, gain a single worker, take 2 coins, discard a suspicion. So that's the priority order for them. Again, you are going to check, just like you would check for yourself. Can you do it? Yes. Then you're going to pay their workers and do the action. Anytime the AI would gain things like supply, coins from the tax, you're going to, instead of collecting them, you're actually going to move this marker 1 for each resource they would have claimed. So if they claimed 2 coins, you would go 1, 2. If you get to the end here, you loop back around, and in the process of looping, you're going to move up the flag that is furthest down. And if there are 2 flags that are tied in the back, you're going to pick whichever one's on top. So it is important to keep track of who's on top when moving the flags here. If for some reason the AI is not cannot complete the action that's on the card, say they've already done commission this turn, or they cannot afford, they don't have the black necessary, these 2 spots are full, they have a level of 0, so they can't put out at 2, or they don't have enough worker meeples. Say it's the last, we're down to this, and it takes 3 people to commission, they only have 1. Then they're going to go over to this row here, and they're going to fill in the first open one from the left. So the first thing they'll do is recruit, then they'll pray, trade, conspire, and rest. Again, trading is simply gaining 1 coin for them. Recruiting, they look at the recruit pool, but they actually don't ever bring people in. They always dismiss people and gain the benefit. So, and how you decide who they go after is where this resource marker is on the track. You'll see that here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. So if the resource marker was here, they go after this guy. If it was here, they go after the one in the middle. If the one in the middle, say, has already been taken, they follow the arrow. All right, same thing with attacking. They look here, they go around, they follow the arrow. Same thing with converting, same thing with king's favors. When we get to the point where we're going to be flipping over king's favor scheme cards, you look at where the resource marker is. Oh, 3, 1, 2, 3. If the third one is available, if not, we loop back around that direction. Anytime they are told to discard a scheme or debt card and they don't have one to discard, they actually remove a coin from the tax. And anytime they're told to pray, they're going to remove everybody from this right side, same as me, but they're also going to shuffle their scheme deck. So that's important. So if you see the pray card come out, you're going to take the pray action, shuffle the scheme deck, or if you ever slot your meeple there, you're going to shuffle the deck, or if you ever say go out here and take the pray action, you're going to pull everybody off, shuffle your deck. When you pull people off, they go into the general supply. They do not get returned to the worker meeple pool. But there is a way for them, say conspire, to gain additional meeples during their round. So sometimes the AI's turns or rounds can really snowball on you, which can get out of control. All right. So I believe we have covered everything that the AI, how the AI works. I've covered everything of how you take your actions. Again, the strategy is to kind of focus on your king's orders, advance your attribute levels as high as possible, and remove these to the point where you start gaining victory points. That's essentially the name of the game. So let's go ahead and start and play through the first 2 rounds of the game, and then we will jump ahead to endgame scoring. However, I will play through the rest of the game on camera, and if you want to see the extended playthrough, including the ending, there's a link to the extended playthrough in the comments section below. So let's go ahead and get moving. Let me reset this. He's got his worker pool here. I've got mine. I don't think I messed anything else up. Okay. So let's see now. I got a fair amount of coins and I know I can get a bonus for developing. So I want to save 1 green worker for hunting, but I can send 1 up here, and I'm going to spend 4 coins to develop. Now I get to gain a supply for doing so, and I will move this over here to cover that one up. Technically I could go there, but why would you? This is like any color covering up the specific blue, and in doing so I revealed a white worker that I'm going to get back. So there we go. All right, I have taken an action. Now it's the AI's turn. So we flip over the top card here, and he wants to fortify. So first we check, can he fortify? Right now he has a level of 0, but that's all it takes to put up the first wall. So he's going to spend 3 meeples over here off camera. He's going to draw the top card and only the top card, and he's going to gain these bonuses. So he gets to move his red flag up 1, and then he either gets to flip over a debt or he's going to take 2 coins. Well, he doesn't have any debts, and then we can slot this under there. So he's going to take 2 coins. Boom, he's done. Hopefully his next turn gets rid of this guy, and he's done very fast. All right, so now I want to, again, let's focus on garrisoning. Also, we know that the AI is going to be focusing on garrisoning, so I want to get out there and start filling in these spots so that if it comes time for him to do it, he doesn't have the attribute level, and I've blocked him. So let's go ahead and garrison like this. Okay, so we check our strength level, which is a 0, but that's fine because there is, oh no, that's right, we're not commissioning. I need to raise my strength up first. Okay, so it's going to take these 2 people. Almost made an egregious error there. And so I need to either convert or fortify. Fortifying could give me a better bonus. And I can afford to fortify and garrison. Both are going to take supplies, but that's fine. And one of these 2 could be convert. One of them could be fortify. It'd be nice if I had the gatekeeper or this one before I went ahead and fortified, but I can't afford to do all of this. So, again, it's a race because I really want this spot, which is going to allow me to claim one of these people. But before I can go out there, I need to raise my attack, and he could swoop in. You never know. So, but I don't have any other choice. I'm going to have to spend out a lot of purples here. That's fine. So there we go. I obviously can fortify, same as him. I have to spend a supply, and I get this card. Okay. So 2 coins. Right now, I need supply. I know I need lots of supply. So I'm actually going to take this opportunity to raise my red up 1 and get rid of one of these cards. So now he and I are tied at least for that. Okay. All right, but I've taken an action. I've raised my strength up to where it needs to be. Yeah, he's also raised his strength up to where it needs to be. So, he gets a turn. What's it going to be? Commission. Okay. Whew. All right, so what's going to happen is he is going to try and commission. He can't because he only has one worker meeple. So he's going to move over here, fill in the leftmost, so recruiting first. And he's going to target this person in the middle, which unfortunately is going to give him a technically wild. For him, it really doesn't matter, but it's going to give him one more meeple to take one more turn. So he still could garrison this turn, which is unfortunate. So he's not quite done yet. All right, but this allows me to swoop in here and take my garrison action, which is going to allow me to go up here. We already talked about where we want to go. I have a strength of 1. I get to raise my black up 1 for uncovering this, and I get to recruit now. This symbol means recruit at a discount of 3 coins, which essentially means recruit for free. So now the question is, do I take the missionary because I get an instant supply? Do I take the gatekeeper here because it would get rid of this card? Without knowing what these 2 cards are, you know, none of these guys are super bonus. If one of these guys had the garrison action, I would definitely scoop them up. So I think what is unfortunate, even though I could come over here and get this person for free, I'm going to take this one. All right. So I get to instantly get rid of this card. Now, if for some reason at the beginning of this round a Inquisition happens, I should be safe. And now if I fortify in the future, I'll gain a coin from it. All right. So I am done. I'm out of meeples. But the solo AI gets to continue going. And look at that. Wouldn't you know, it's like he knew what he wanted to do. He has a strength of 1. There is 1 slot left at the 1. So he's going to pick this sucker up. He's going to go here, go boom, boom. And he gets to raise his black up. Son of a gun. All right, so he is keeping step for step with me on this one. All right, so it's the end of the round. Neither one of us has workers left to play. Nobody needs to pass. You do not shuffle this now. This doesn't get shuffled until a prey action happens. So let's clear off all of our workers from this side. Now we're moving into round 2. So he's going to need 2 for the round, plus 3. So we'll just, there's his worker pool. Good. For me, we go over here and we clear. And you know what? I forgot to hunt. But that's fine. I ran into the issue of having to fortify in order to be able to garrison. And yeah, we ended up not using this guy. So, all right. Now, in the regular game, you would dismiss the person in the lowest spot. So here and here. So this guy is definitely going. But in the solo game, you actually dismiss the first 2 spots. So both of these guys are going. Everything slides down. Boom, boom, boom. And you refill. All right. You come down. And we're going to refill. Okay. All right. That's all done. He's got his worker pool. I've reset the boards. So let's see what the next king's order is. And it is convert. So unfortunately, I should have claimed the missionary, but that's fine. This goes over here. I know you guys can't see this side of the board very well, but basically it only takes him 2 people to convert now. And that is our next action, which works out well because then we can kind of combo back and forth right here. All right. So I need to decide who my next paladin is going to be. So I draw the top 3 cards. Developing costs 2 fewer silver. This is an excellent choice early on because you can only develop once per game. Even praying isn't going to remove these people. So basically early on in the game when I don't have very much money, he's a bonus. Conspiring earns you 2 silver. So if you go and become a villain, bonus, you get 2 bonus coins. Or we already know this guy, attacking earns you 2 silver. So I tend to try not to conspire. So he's going to go to the bottom. This may be attacking. So I'm going to hold on to him. And I'm going to say developing because I know I want to develop. I want to make converting cheaper. He's my guy. So I'm going to claim a green and a white. And we need 2 tavern cards. So 1, 2. And all right, so no Inquisition is going to be happening at least early on in the game. I need reds and blacks to convert. So we will be taking this one card here that gives me 3 blacks and a red. All right. There's no purple for him to claim, so he doesn't care about these cards anymore. They just go off to the side. All right, so we are back to me, and you always go first as the AI player. So let's look at what needs to happen here. I definitely want to develop, and I want to develop my convert action. And then I want to convert probably. I guess I need to do that first because I need to be able to raise up my black in order to garrison up here. Because right now my black is only 1. He's not giving me a black bonus. Or no, he's giving me a red bonus. So, wait, I can garrison. It's black I need to bump up preferably to 2 so I could have the choice of either one of these. So let's do that. Let's garrison first. So I have an influx of black workers here. I think this is right. Nobody's gonna steal develop from me. So yeah, right now if I convert, I can only convert her. This person seems like the better person to have for endgame scoring, so I'd like to target her. All right, so this is the plan. Hopefully the AI doesn't swoop in and steal this from me. So we're going to garrison. I have a level of 1 plus 2 is 3. So I can come up here. And I think what we will take, I have to pay my supply first, is another person. Attacking gets you a person. Fortifying gets you a person. This pushes you up in black. So these guys both come into effect that if an Inquisition happens and you happen to have 0 suspicion, you're basically a good fella. He's going to raise this one red and this one black. Both of which I kind of need to be high. Garrisoning, though, is probably the better thing. So that's red. So yeah, I think we're going to come here, we're going to claim this, and we're going to take this guy for free. Even though he's not giving me anything, the only person who is, it's useless to me. So, all right, we've garrisoned, and this gets to go up 1. Okay. All right, what are you going to do? Yes. Okay, so he's going to absolve. The first one costs 0, so he's definitely able to do that. We'll just slide this down, flip it over. And he gets to move up on black for sure. Now he could discard, he gets to discard this one, and then he gets to discard another one. But like I said, that's not happening. So he actually is going to remove this from the supply. He doesn't gain it. That's why there's that poof through it. So he doesn't gain the resource, but what happens is it triggers an Inquisition, and ironically, nobody has any suspicion. So the Inquisition fails, nobody takes any debts, nobody has to pay off the Inquisitors, and we just refill the tax, which is good because I just claimed to this guy. An Inquisition happened, I had 0 suspicion, so I get to move up 1 on the red track. Bonus. All right, so back to me. We know what we need to do here, so let's spend. Oh no, I need a coin. I'm a coin short in doing this, so I have to spend one of you guys to acquire some money. No, developing costs 2 fewer silver. That's right. Cannot forget my Paladin. So here we go, Mr. Paladin. Yes, I only have to pay 2 silver to go up here. Developing is going to give me a supply back. And now I just pull this off. It's going to give me my white worker back. And I will put this here. Okay, so that was my action. What's he going to do? Oh, stinker. Okay, so King's Order. He's going to look at the one that's furthest to the right, basically the one that's going to be worth the most, and he's going to attempt to do that one if he hasn't completed, which is the case. So he's going to come here. He's got 2 exactly. He's going to convert. We look at his black level, which is 2, and he wants to claim the person here, right? Hold on. Let me make sure if that's what he looks for. Solo AI, recruit, prey, convert. When taking this action, the AI player will always attempt to target this specific outsider card based on the position of the resource marker. If the card is no longer available, it will move to the next one described in page 20. Okay, perfect. So it cannot get to this guy. It doesn't have 10, so it's actually just coming back around here and taking her, which only gives him that, which is fine. I just kind of wanted her more for endgame scoring. So, perfect. All right. So let's go over here now, and we will take our convert action before anybody takes it from us. I have a level of 2 in black. She is a level 2, so I can take her. And this first one is free to take. And so normally she would slot under there. It really doesn't fit there very well, so I'm just putting her down here. I get a boost in my red, and that's it. All right, so we each converted, and now he's done. He's out of workers, so that's good for us. All right, now I've got 1 person left. I could save this person moving into the next round. I could use him to dismiss, which I would have to pay a coin, but then I could dismiss the gatekeeper, which will then allow me to trade and gain enough supply. And that might be worth it, actually. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay 1 coin, all right, to essentially get 2 workers here because I'm dismissing this person. So we just look at this top action. She goes away. And then the AI passed, so it's back to me again. And I'm going to use these to claim 3 coins. So essentially, I spent 1 coin to gain 3 coins. So 2 coin swap. All right, so I'm done. He's done. These can all clear off now. And we are moving into round 3. 1, 2, 3. Plus 1. No, plus 3 is 6. All right, so there's his worker pool for the next round. For me, we don't know what that's going to be yet. Okay, so we get rid of you. You slide down. I kind of like this guy. Might try and snag him before he goes away. He's super cheap now. All right. These 2 would get dismissed, but nothing's there. So we push, and refill. All right, and the last thing we need to do is flip over on the 3rd round both of these. So what's our last King's Order? It is commissioning, which requires black, so that's decent. Our black is starting to move up. So he takes this, he fills up his commissioning. Then we flip over the King's Favor as well. So the King's Favor, this card goes in the discard pile. Remember, he hasn't taken a prey action yet, so he hasn't shuffled yet. But this now is a communal worker placement space that can only be taken once per round. Prey action does not clear it off. Whoever goes there first, you have to spend a blue or a purple, can spend a supply and either develop for free or gain those 2 workers. That's actually a really nice way to develop. Because for me, I get that supply right back. Again, until this card gets shuffled back in, the AI is not going to be going after that. But strategy for solo player, if you go there first, it means they're just going to be filling up this track, resting sooner. King's Favors are usually pretty good, but once someone is there, it's blocked. So this is the only time in the game that you can block someone from going somewhere, because it's the communal king's favor spots. All right. At this point, I am going to pause. And in this particular video, we are going to jump ahead to the end of the game so I can show you how to score the game, both as a normal player and how the solo AI scores. They're pretty much the same. If, however, you would like to see the remainder of this particular game and see the full playthrough, check out the video in the link linked in the description below. That'll take you to the extended playthrough where I will play through the rest of the game and then go through endgame scoring. If, however, you've seen how it plays, you understand how the rules work, and all you want to know is how the game scores, then just keep watching. We're about to jump right now. Okay, so we finished the game up. Let's go ahead and score. So there's just various things, most of which have these yellow banners on them, that you go through the process of checking to see if you reach the necessary scores. First thing we want to do is check the king's orders. Did we reach all of them? Me personally, yes, I did. So I will gain 18 total points from the king's orders. The AI, however, came up just short here, and was able to convert 5 people, so it's gaining 6 points. So check for me. I'm surging ahead. But then if we look at our attribute levels here, you'll see that between my total and this one is gaining me 3. So whichever flag you have passed but not reached is what you're going to count. So this blue one is a 3, 6, and 11. That is 20 points even, whereas they are 13, 9, and then 6, so 28. So checkpoint AI, they've caught back up. Next thing you're going to want to do is look at any debts you have. So I actually don't have any debts, positive or negative, and they were able to flip over both of theirs, so they have a positive 2 points there. Technically, a small check for them. Then you're going to check to see leftover resources in groups of 3. So every 3 resources you have will gain you an extra VP. So I actually have 3 little piles here, a whole bunch of coins, and a supply. So that is 3 more points for me. The AI doesn't ever keep track of that stuff, so 0 points for them. I guess, again, small check for me. All right, then we are going to go through and we're going to count VP from putting out developments, commissions, garrisons, and absolving. So I didn't do it in development. I got 2 points here, 2 points here, and no points down here. So I have a total of 4. The AI is only getting a point from their fortifications because they put out all of these. They get 1 for reaching this point of fortification. You can see I would have done the same, but I only put out 1 myself. So 4 to 1, check mark to me. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our converts here to see if we scored any additional points on our converts. So, for example, this person is giving me a VP per how many villagers I recruited. I recruited 4, so that's 2 more points there. This villager is giving me victory points per defeating, so this is the attack action, per people with this symbol. So like these 2 other people, but this is my convert pile. I actually didn't attack anybody, so I don't get any for him. Same thing with him. I didn't attack anybody. Here is a point per every 2 garrisons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an additional 2 more points, so we're up to 4 total. And this guy is giving me a point per every 4 flag, and I'm at 9. So that's again 2 more points, so 6 total for me. Then if we look over here to the AI, we have this person who would give you a victory point if you were holding on to a suspicion card like myself. They are not, but the AI always scores at least 1 point for their convert people. So that is 1 point for them. This guy is 1 plus any additional for other mercenaries who they've converted. He doesn't have any. They would all have that symbol there. So again, just 1 for him. This lady actually reduces the negative effects of, say, having a debt card flipped over like this. So she would actually cancel out one of these on each of your debt cards, making them only worth -2. So if you had a bunch that you couldn't flip over, it wouldn't be as bad. Again, it doesn't apply to them because they flipped over all their debts. So again, just a single point, they're up to 3. Then 2 points per level here. Again, they've reached 8. Divided by 4 is 2. So they're up to 5. And this gentleman is 1 point per 2 pots, which they did. So I believe that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So check for them. Small check for them. Okay. So actually, it was 3 checks to me, 3 checks to them. If you were doing the math, final score was actually 51 to 44. So I was successful. Thinking back without rewatching the video, I feel like I may have once or twice accidentally looked at the black for garrisoning when I should have been looking at the red, although their red didn't really shoot up here until the end. So I'm not 100% sure whether or not I made that mistake. You know, even if they were able to have, if they were able to have put out a 5th garrison, they would have gotten 4 points for that King's Order plus an additional 2, which would have given them 6, which would have given them 50 total. You never know how things might have worked out differently. That's the only mistake I feel like I may have made throughout the game. Otherwise, I think this is pretty much it. Again, the strategy for playing the AI is A, honing your skills on a specific set, pretty much what the King's Order is going to provide, and then going out and making sure you block them out here with the garrison and commission actions, going and taking the early and cheap outsiders so that they can't gain them, basically making it so when they want to do these actions over here, they don't have the level to go up further up the line, and which forces them to take these simple actions and get nothing out of it. So they're going to get their points either way, but remember, they don't get the bonus of the Paladins. So when you get a big bonus and can jump way up here, you shouldn't always. You should probably stay down here and try and block. So those are just my tips and tricks. And also up here on the King's favorite cards, if really good ones come out like this one, or there's another one that basically you put any worker down, you have to gain a debt, but you get 3 workers in return. That is an awesome card. You want to take that so the AI doesn't take it and just get 3 more actions or 3 more workers to work with. So taking out those King's favorite cards before they get them too. So anyways, that was Paladins of the West Kingdom solo. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more content like this in the future, including a breakdown of all 3 West Kingdom games and one big, massive, full and honest review of the West Kingdom Trilogy, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.